Today we have Sean Misavage from Zealot Interactive, who's going to give us an update on the traction that he's been seeing in his business. I'm just going to do a quick introduction. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to follow up with me. Zealot Interactive is offering a convertible note with a $10 million market cap, 8% interest, and a 20% discount. And please feel free to reach out to me at jernst@launchny.org. And Sean, why don't you go ahead and give your updates?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. I'll kind of run through this as quickly as I can to be cognizant of everybody's time and just get to the important stuff. So just a quick update on what my company is. We build music education platforms. And we have two business segments. We have our consumer division with the Fret Cell LED system and subscription. This is a SaaS model. And then we have the Build-A-Band creative music production platform for public schools, high schools, and private schools. And this is B2B. So on the B2B side of things, this program for schools is a software portal, and we have optional hardware accessories that go along with that, a software partner, and we provide ongoing professional development to the schools. We are a one-stop shop for schools to be able to teach music production to their students. This solves a critical problem where teachers, especially music teachers, are totally overloaded with their curriculums for what they're teaching right now, and they can't conceive of teaching something they all want to teach, which is teaching students how to actually create their own original music. We solve all of those problems and give them everything they need in one package, and the opportunity here is massive. There's nobody currently in this space. There's a very large moat to other parties entering this space. And as you can see here, the serviceable obtainable market is $268 million a year. And this is without doing anything clever like increasing our prices. I'll be the first to say that we're not receiving any pushback whatsoever from our current pricing, but for right now, we don't want that to be pushback as we grow and expand throughout the country. So let me switch over to our actual live CRM view here. Um, stuck on my, you see three in this column all the way on the right? Just making sure. Okay, cool. So right now we're live, have awarded deals in 3 states. By this fall, we should be in 12 states. This is exceptional considering we had nothing on this last year and we've just exploded nationally with this program. And it is spreading in a quite viral nature. We get into one district, and then as we expand to schools in that district, we go into neighboring districts. We have a proper sales team, sales model for how we get into these schools, a process. We work schools through this pipeline. We now have over 1,000 schools in this pipeline, and we're working with the largest districts and the smallest ones. New York City Public Schools, we're all set to go in next year, not this current year. We have a vendor ID, all of that kind of stuff. LAUSD, it's just we're following the process throughout everything and growing in a very calculated manner. So that's really exciting there. And what we've realized with this growth is that we've been able to calculate kind of more of our exit strategy and what our growth start targets are. So this year we'll have a few hundred students. Next year we're going to have thousands of students. 2027 we're going to have tens of thousands of students. In 2028 we're on track for over 100,000 students. And this is both based on current data and linked to comparables in the market that have millions of students. And so we know this path we can go on. We know the sales team, the process to get there. And the use of funds for this little bridge round is to really help us get into the conferences we want to attend. So we've got 14 conferences we want to go to or have gone to already for this year, even more if we can manage it. And these conferences give us that like initial point of virality regionally in a state, and it helps us get our key supporters. So, for example, Texas, and this is their words, not mine, their director of fine arts for this district, saying that it's a gold mine for districts, the way we're presenting this. Our course is CTE, which is career and technical education, opens up a whole world of funding. And it's kind of saturated in the sciences and engineering fields, But in music, there's just nothing. There's like nothing there. And so they're all very excited that there's that music can qualify for CTE now, pretty much exclusively with our program. So that was Texas. Here's California. This woman is now president of California's Music Education Association, and just she's all for it, loves it. It's our powerhouse supporter. She said, "Come to our conference. I'll give you a speaking position." Loudoun County. This is actually where I came from in Virginia, which is the richest county in the country, crazy enough. And they have been adding a high school every 2 years in terms of growth rate. And we're set to start at the bottom level with them. They want to use us to build out this program throughout all of their high schools, all 17 of them. Just yesterday, our one of the first schools we deployed into in Kansas gave us this feedback, saying that they're extremely impressed with our communication and support. We're in alignment with their goals. And the student feedback was, I personally think this is the best feedback, where students are saying they thought they already knew something, but then they looked at what we had and said, oh, wait, hold on. No, I don't. Here's more stuff. The teachers like it, which is really important. No teacher wants to be thrown something that they struggle to use or don't like. And the students who think they're being assigned busy work, seeing that it's not. It's just great feedback from the students. And this was only for the 8 weeks at the end of the year. This is a district that kind of begged us to put it in initially, and they're using it this fall as well. So lots of traction going on with that program. That's the core of our business right now. And it opens up a lot of new exit strategies for us, mainly the digital audio workstation providers such as Ableton, Logic Pro, which is owned by Apple, and Pro Tools, which is owned by Avid. And I have a conversation with them this afternoon to start talking about things. So it's those companies, for why they would acquire us. They want all schools to use their products, but they don't have the ability to teach students how to use their products. It needs more of a curriculum and tools, recording equipment, activities for the class to go along with it. So we're the perfect distribution model for them. So we're trying to raise an additional probably like $200,000. I mean, this whole round for like 400, 450 has been about half subscribed so far, but we're trying to raise this additional amount to get us through these conferences and make sure that we can continue to grow without the stress of like, okay, can we really afford another conference? What if we have to get another display or something for $1,000? It's just giving us the flexibility to grow without kind of annoying barriers there. So revenue, realistically, we're going to see tens of thousands of revenue from the schools this year. Next year is where we're hoping to get into the six figures pretty solidly, and then after that, it really skyrockets into the millions. And so we're at the bottom of a serious growth curve here that is very well defined compared to our consumer brand. So I'll segue over there, which is great, amazing, innovative, patented. The challenge with Fret Zealot has been that it is so difficult to advertise to consumers and convince them to buy the product. It's going well, but it's expensive in terms of convincing somebody to get a $250 product or sign up for a $15 a month subscription. It's honestly horrifying how many subscribers have credit cards fail for that $15. It's a little bit of a scary part of our economy right now, but it's why the schools are so much more stable with more than 90% retention versus the consumer side where most of the times you're happy to get over 20% retention. But for us, we have the distribution model with hundreds of thousands of flyers and booklets going out through partners. We just added a new one that's signing up for 100,000 uh, booklets to put in their guitars and their systems and their products. And this is going to continue to see our growth rate. And we're in 10,000 libraries. We've got a lot going on here, but it's going to continue to see our growth rate jump up like this year after year. This is based on the holidays. And I'll make a quick note here that we're continuing to improve this because, of course, we don't want this to climb throughout the year. 2024, this was Christmas right here, and then started declining immediately after throughout the entire year. This year, 2025, this was Christmas, and we actually saw it increase for 2 months after, and its decline is much less through the partnerships we've put in place. And so we're doing some things to increase the more continual growth going forward. But if you average this curve out, you can see that it is going up exponentially, but it's not going to go as quickly as the schools, and this does have more of a cap unless there's major multi-million dollar investments into it, which will happen later, but that's not what we're asking for in this round. But this diversification of revenue streams has been great and let us weather all sorts of craziness this year with tariffs and that kind of thing. So this is continuing to grow very well. We're excited. This MRR should exceed, I mean, our goal is to exceed six figures per month after the holidays this year. So that's what we're on target for with our partners. Exclusive partnership with Walmart. They've introduced us to their suppliers. Our suppliers are increasing their partnership with us, expanding out to all of their categories, all of their instruments. And so it is growing. Um, Retention figures, we can share this all around. So, right. So talked about the Walmart partnership. Ableton, this is on the school side of things. They're creating a custom student certification for us, which is just another amazing thing that's happening in addition to the CTE, the Career and Technology Education credit from schools. This certification is an industry first and very exciting, honestly newsworthy for what it's going to do for music education across the country. A final bit of a wild card, which will be awesome if it happens, is our grant application to the NSF. The good news is that it's in the artificial intelligence category because that hasn't been cut at all. The bad news is that it's in the artificial intelligence category, which is the most popular category. So their decision time averages 6 to 8 months, and we are in month 6. So we're looking forward to hearing what their decision is, and that over the life of that grant is $2 million. So that's a pretty solid boon to the business if that happens, but can't guarantee that. But it's looking good so far. So let me make sure I've covered everything here. Really, the focus here is that the business has, for all intents and purposes, pivoted to be B2B, going to schools, with everything else that we have growing very well, but not needing any additional investment, personnel, all of that. It's all self-sustaining. On the consumer side, most of our partners are actually putting their own flyers and booklets and hang tags in the packages. They're paying for it. And it's kind of funny because we did this calculation. So if we pay 5 cents per flyer, and that's our cost, we average 80 cents on the return for that. And that's an awesome margin, but it's limited to the number of flyers that we can get out there. But we're putting it in everything we can, guitar stands, everything like that. So that's self-sustaining, and we're focused on the B2B side, which the only barrier there is time. We've conquered the bureaucracy. We're not threatened by it. I mean, we go into these schools and people say, oh, it's hard to sell to schools. There's all these things. We licensed from the record labels and the publishers for our music. It's like nothing is crazier than that. We do monthly reporting with millions of data points. It's just a cakewalk for us. So it's and it also gives them confidence to work with us, knowing that we have that history. So we go in with a powerful state and we're making the sales and making progress with it. So I'll leave it there and open it up for any questions if there are any.
Can you just walk me through the difference between what falls to the bottom line when you're working with a school district versus the B2C business?
Yeah, so right now, so when it comes to at a high level, consumer business has probably about an average of 30% taken away that goes to licensing and instructors and revenue share based on how people use the product. Sometimes it goes up to 40%. So there's a lot of cuts being taken out of it before we get into distribution of streaming services and the like. But they're thankfully those costs are pretty low. But we're looking at a lot of costs there. On the school side, it's like 2%, the cost to actually deploy the systems and maintain it. It's so low. We're not doing licensing. Nobody's taking a share of our fees. And looking at our pricing calculator here, just to show what's happening here, our standard fee right now is $50 per student per year. And that's not being met with any pushback. And it's interesting because that's 10 times higher what these schools are paying for students to access their standard LMS, which is a learning management system like Canvas or the systems or PowerSchool systems that students use, kind of like their internal Google Drive or something like that, or their internal OneDrive. So we've really stumbled upon something has a very high margin and is highly valued. No pushback on price because of the segments that we're targeting, and has a lot of add-ons as well. We add on the software licenses for the digital audio workstation, and then all of this hardware. And what's interesting, I'll use Springville, New York as an example. That's just south of us here in Buffalo. They're going to use our program in the licenses, but they saw that we're able to provide equipment to them and be this one-stop shop. And when we do that, we get a 40% cut because of our distribution deals with, in this case, Yamaha primarily. So we're just adding on revenue and margin onto what we can provide them. And the schools are seeing us as just an easier solution to going anywhere else for supplies. They just reach out to us and say, hey, we need this. Can you get this? We're like, sure. And so the business is expanding there in multiple facets. And once you're in these districts, and they like how you operate, it's kind of changing how schools can purchase things. And not many companies can do this. A software company comes in, they're not getting instruments from them or tools, and they can do that with us. And that's very exciting to a lot of these schools. So lots of revenue expansion there. But the core margins here are exceptional. Cost to serve them, our actual software here is 1%, 2%. We did the calculation compared to the consumer side, which has a lot of licensing and other revenue shares going into it.
And then, can you just talk me through, for instance, Ableton? How big are they? Do you know what their revenues are and how easy or difficult it would be for them to make an offer to you that would be palatable?
Yeah, so Ableton has in excess, so they're private, so we don't know for sure, but they have in excess of 100 million in revenue. We're established in Germany, but are global, and they are one of the three core professional digital audio workstations available out right now. There's Ableton, there's Logic Pro, and there's Pro Tools. And honestly, they're winning the game. They're a great piece of software for live performances. They're a great piece of software for music production, and they're what creators and they're what this generation is using, if that makes sense. So that it's what the new generation is getting into. So they're in a really good state. They don't have private equity overseers, as I call it. There's not a lot of complication, and they've already at least kind of we'll call it verbally agreed that them acquiring us eventually would make sense, and it's why we're working with them so intimately. They don't have software resellers, but they're working with us, and we're really doing a pass through, but we're essentially a reseller of their software because they see that they are not able to sell to schools. They can't go in just as them. They need a different company with a different business model that uses them. They can't go direct. And so we're the perfect distribution model for them, and they see that, and it's just high potential here. They are organizing an internal M&A team to look into this in the future. They don't have it, but this is kind of one of those hidden deals where like Ableton could acquire us, it makes the news, and people say, "Whoa, where'd that come from?" Well, it's because of like months and months of kind of internal conversations to make it happen as the first. Other potential acquirers are, we'll call them content providers. So here's one, Splice, just, my goodness, get all this away. Splice provides music clips for use in digital audio workstations, non-royalty. And so people get the clips, they can use it however they want. And they've integrated with all the digital audio workstations, but they're providing content. And they just purchased another company for 55 million, and their revenue is well over 100 million. And so they're actively looking to acquire. And so it's there's some companies out there that are into the acquisition. Now, the instrument manufacturers, that's where we previously had been looking as acquirers. They've kind of holed up a little bit and are struggling. Yamaha included. They're have a venture arm, but they're not really sure what they're doing yet. And so it's always been tedious and we don't really know what's going on. But these audio companies and content companies are much more into the acquisition world and as potential acquirers. Another option are I can look at my list here, are the educational content providers like Pearson and McGraw-Hill. We've been talking with them, but that's a very traditional approach that once we're bigger and if we run a formal process, that's who we would talk to. But that's kind of the level they would be looking at. But if it happened before, that'd be at like year 3. But if this happened like next year, we'd be talking to some of the content providers and digital audio workstation manufacturers.
Great. Well, we're coming up on time, and I really appreciate you taking this half hour to give us an update on how things are going with the B2B business. And hopefully you'll get the rest of your rounds, and you'll be off to conferences and continue to build this exciting B2B business.
Thank you. And I'll sign off with saying, don't take my word for it. Take the words of the state leaders who have essentially said that this is the future. So we're really on to something here with a product market fit and hope you all can join in on this adventure.
Excellent. It was nice to see you, Sean. Thanks for your time. And
All right.
we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good day.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.